All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. Tonight, we're going to be talking about the Las Vegas Raiders. This team is going to be so much better than they were last season. It's not even funny. Even if they don't end up winning 10 plus double-digit games, the eye test alone is going to prove that this is a better Raiders team and that they're better set up for the future. They have a winning and talented quarterback in Jimmy G. They have last year's best running back in the National Football League in Josh Jacobs, and they also have probably the best wide receiver trio across the league in Davante Adams, new addition Jacoby Myers, and Hunter Renfrow. They also picked up two great tight ends via free agency in Austin Hooper and in the draft in Michael Mayer. What people don't seem to understand is in the second half of the season last year, the Las Vegas Raiders were an above average offensive line. So last year, even with all the dysfunctionality within the Raiders team, they still basically had a top 10 offense. The Raiders next season will definitely have a top 10 offense. Where the Raiders' biggest flaw is, the biggest concern comes defensively. To be more specific, it comes over on the secondary side of things. They currently have Nate Hobbs slated as cornerback 1 and Marcus Peters slated as cornerback 2. Now, Nate Hobbs plays mostly in the slot, so I want to pinpoint a player who's going to have a huge impact on the Raiders. He's already had a big impact on this team through one preseason game and this past summer. Fourth-round draft pick cornerback out of Maryland, Jakorian Bennett. Jakorian Bennett is a future star in the National Football League, and he is going to leave a mark. He's going to leave his imprint immediately in his rookie season. Now, yes, there will be hiccups, there will be mistakes, there will be poor timing or poor communication. There will be hiccups, but I am convinced Jakorian Bennett is a star, and he's currently on the Las Vegas Raiders. Now, before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button. Raiders fans, if you could try and get this video to 250 likes, that would mean the world to me. Now, what a lot of people don't seem to understand when they're talking about this Raiders team is they seem to forget that not only do players get better, but new talent also comes in, i.e. Jakorian Bennett, and also Marcus Peters. I was watching the Raiders' first preseason game against San Francisco, and I really loved what one of the announcers said. In the past, pretty much all the way up until last season, no opposing offense ever wanted to play the Las Vegas Raiders. No matter what their record is, no matter who was on the roster, opposing offenses, opposing teams knew when you headed into a game against the Raiders, you were going to get physically manhandled, and the next day and the next week's gonna hurt very badly. You know, every yard is going to need to be gained. There's nothing is going to come easy. They're gonna hit you hard, they're gonna hit you fast, they're gonna get turnovers, and they're gonna make life miserable on you. This was not the Raiders of last season. However, they are littered with talented players. Max Crosby, an absolute superstar. Chandler Jones trying to get as much as he can in his last couple of years in the league, and that's why they drafted Tyree Wilson. Rising star in the NFL in Divine Diablo, or as I like to call him, Mr. Double D. Marcus Peters was a huge addition. This is a ball hog. This is somebody who is going to bring that grit, that intensity, that toughness that this Raiders defense, culture-wise, identity-wise, needs to form, and that's what you're going to see in this upcoming season. Jakorian Bennett played 3 years over at Maryland, extremely underrated, all right? Now, in 2022, as a junior, Bennett played in 11 games, and he contributed on 663 snaps. He chalked up 34 tackles, 8 of those were assisted, and he added 12 stops. In the secondary, Bennett forced 7 pass breakups, 1 interception, and gave up a quarterback rating when targeted of 57.5. Now, as you see every single year in the National Football League, I actually like to compare it to the wide receiver position. There are cornerbacks or just secondary players in general that get drafted outside of the first or second round, 4th round, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round, undrafted. There are players in the secondary who come in and it's just like there's so much talent at the position that it gets saturated, and it's easy to forget, or it's easy to lose sight on guys like Jakorian Bennett. Now, Jakorian alone isn't going to fix the Raiders secondary, and that's why you went out and you picked up Marcus Peters. But their team, their secondary, to be more specific, is going to be a lot better than it was last season. The Raiders last year really struggled to generate rush. They could not get to the quarterback. Unless your name was Max Crosby, you had a very easy time getting to the quarterback. That's why we look at guys like Neil Farrell Jr., Adam Butler. You get deeper, new addition. We saw it, Amari Burney. He got a sack in the first preseason game. These are guys who want to hit. And they want to hit hard, man. So Raiders defense, I don't see them being worse than 20th in the league. And we combine that with Jimmy G, who has experience. Experience is the most important part with Josh McDaniels, the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. We know, or if you didn't know, Josh McDaniels does not run a simple scheme. In fact, it's often considered one of the more, if not the most difficult scheme to learn in the entire offense across the league. But Jimmy G is comfortable in it. He's been coached by Josh McDaniels, obviously playing behind the GOAT Tom Brady. But Jimmy G, if he's healthy, is going to get you football wins. He is going to game manage perfectly with Josh McDaniels. They're going to eat up the clock with Josh Jacobs and second year player, not second round draft pick, in Zamir White, who had a promising preseason week 1 where he had about 50 yards and a touchdown. And then their wide receiver room, it seriously is loaded. People, I think, make fun of the Raiders because of Jimmy G's injury history, which is something you want to keep in mind. He needs to stay upright. They need to protect him. Like, that's goal number 1, because if you do, you're going to win a lot of football games. But we've already mentioned it, the best wide receiver trio in the National Football League, but it doesn't even end just there. Philip Dorsett, DeAndre Carter, Trey Tucker, new draft pick out of Cincinnati, Keelan Cole Sr. There's something new on this Raiders wide receiver core that I noticed this past summer, not only on their wide receiver position, but their depth chart in general, all the way to their defense. It's called speed. Speed kills. I know you guys have heard it. Philip Dorsett, really freaking fast. Trey Tucker, really freaking fast. Jacorian Bennett, really freaking fast. These are super fast players, and I just love this new culture that is about to be formed, this new identity that's about to be formed in a season where the Raiders, they're going to bounce back. Like I said, even if they don't end up winning 10 football games, 11 football games in the loaded AFC West that they're in, the eye test alone is going to prove, it's going to prove 100%, in my opinion, that the Raiders are significantly improved. Not only that, but their future is a lot better than people are thinking. I like to compare them to the Seattle Seahawks of last season, where this is a team that's projected, five wins, 6 wins if they're lucky, but they have a competent, capable quarterback. They have a loaded offense. There are some question marks on the defense, but it should be good enough. Bend don't break first half of the season. It's their second year under Patrick Graham, the new DC. Bend don't break defensive philosophy, put points on the board, get touchdowns, stay healthy. I don't know why the Raiders are getting such a bad rap right now. I really don't. So that's it for today. If you guys enjoyed it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. And yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about Jacorian Bennett and the Raiders team down below. Peace.